This is a trigger warning. The story time is going to be very, very sensitive, and I'm going to be talking about a few topics that might make some of you guys feel uncomfortable, having to just do with being touched and just older men just being really inappropriate. So this is a trigger warning. It's just, this is a very, very sensitive topic, so I just wanted to let you guys know before I start. 1, 2, oh, can you see it? Look how freaking cool this is. My sister-in-law got it for me. It says Alexis Jayda. Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. Notification shout out goes to Charmed Kitten. Thank you so much for all your love and support, and never goes unnoticed. Thank you so much. Besos. If you want to be part of the notification squad, all you have to do is just hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment down below, and you could possibly be the next notification shout out. Sorry I did another cliffhanger, but I have to, because I'm just gonna continue to talk and talk and talk for hours and hours, and it's like I have to cut it off somewhere. I have to be like, hey, pause, be like Netflix, like, are you still there? But like you need a break, you know, like I can talk forever. So everything I will be using will be linked down below. Now let me know what you guys are doing. Are you traveling somewhere? Are you at work? Where you work? What you eating? What you grubbing on? Let your girl know down below, because you know I'm chismosa as fuck también. So let's get into it. Okay, so that freaking puta sucia, just kidding, let's not go in so hot, let's bring it back. All right, so we're at the part where Baltimore is crying, and Mr. Peach had to go get her because, like always, she has to make it about her. Me and Sam were like, oh, like, haha, kind of laughing. I'm kind of like, have you ever had that experience where you feel like you see everything going on, but your body is just like autopilot? You're just like, what the f-? You know? So Sam's all on me, on my arm, like, oh my god, I can't wait, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, just in good spirits, super happy, acting super nice, and just lovey. In comes Baltimore, and she says, did she tell you that she's your mom yet? Boom, pops the balloon that me and Sam were in, of like happiness. Super selfish, that's always what she does, that's her. Before I could even react, like look towards Sam, she's already on top of Baltimore, just hitting her. I don't know if it was like one of those words that just got her, and it just, you know how some people just have that word, like, don't call me that. It was like that. It was just instant before I could even be like, and look at her, because I already knew, because you could just see it. It was just one of those things like, how can you not? It was instant. I'm telling you, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like, whew. I look at her, boom, she's already on her. Mr. Peach can't even react because he is probably on the same thing that I am. Like, what the? Everything feels like it's going in slow motion. And you just see Baltimore, she just goes on the floor, and her and Sam are just freaking going at it. Now, because it ain't none of my business, I wasn't gonna step in and pull Sam off. Hell no, I was beat her ass. Get her. I was not gonna tell her like, stop, because I don't care. I really don't. Now, since we were at like the campsite, there was other people like, you know, screaming like, hey, knock it off. And those two were going at it. There was no talking at all. It was just like, you could hear the bone to the jaw. You could hear both of them just hitting back and forth, and Sam was giving it to her, and Baltimore was giving it right back. Like, it was crazy. It felt like it went on forever, but it probably went on for like a minute, but it honestly felt like it went on forever. Mr. Peach finally breaks it up. I feel like he was shocked too, and he was probably like, what do I do? I don't know, he's so stupid. I was just like looking at him like, what the? And there's literally no talking between these two as they're hitting each other. And so Mr. Peach pulls off Sam and just kind of like yanks her hard, because he knew I wasn't gonna help, because he called out for my name like, Alexis, like, to help. And I just looked at him like, what? And that probably was annoying, that probably was, but I don't care, because what am I gonna do? If anything, I'm gonna punch the bitch too. I'm gonna probably throw a lick in there too. Like, I'm not gonna help you. So he grabs her hard and chucks her, and at this point Mrs. Peach comes out and she has one of the babies, and she's like screaming for us to stop because the baby was crying, because it was just a lot of commotion, you know. Of course, babies are gonna get scared, adults are gonna get scared just because of how nasty this fight was going on. Like, it literally sounded like really gross. You know how sometimes there's fights and you're like, but there's just somewhere it's just like there's like hatred, you know. He throws Sam. Sam is crying at this point, like crying. Like, you know what it reminded me of, and I feel like such a bitch. It reminds me of Hot Chicks, when the guy's like, why? Like that. That's the call like she made. It was just scary, and I was frozen. I was literally frozen because I'm just like, damn, this is some crazy ass. Like, what did I get into? Like, what the hell? And Mrs. Peach sees that. I'm telling you, everything was like in slow motion. Like that, I swear it was. So Mrs. Peach yells at me like, Alexis, get her, because Sam was going crying, and she was getting up and she was getting ready to, like, her feet were ready just to go and get her again. And I looked at her like, you know, like, Sam, don't. You already got her. Your face looks messed up. Her face looks messed up. Like, Sam was getting her. Like, Baltimore's chin looked like Ari got inflated. Like, she looked like Cleft the butt chin mother. I don't know what his name is. What, Cleft the captain something. It looked big. Like, it looked so nasty. And so I yell at Sam like to stop, and as she's going and she's like in the sprint mode to go and get her yet again, I have to go and grab her. Like, I had to grab her by her waist. Have you ever just like scoop someone up and you feel them go like, so I had to go like that and like yank her back, and she was crying and she was trying to like push me and like hit me. And I told her, because even though I understood like what she was like going through, what color did I use? What she was going through, I was still not gonna let her hit me. Like, you got me fucked up, Sam. I remember, I don't give a said sorry. So I told her, if you hit me, I'm gonna beat out of you. And so she was like, do it, I don't care, do it. And so I just chucked her to the floor, and she just sat there and she was just crying. And at this time, we look up and Mr. Peach and Baltimore are walking off, and he's just like, you know, going like that to her, and she's just, you can hear her like that. She kind of feels like to me, it was like, okay, she's comprehending like it's over. Like, you can't just like hit her again, you know? So I'm trying to talk to her and telling her and stuff like, are you okay? And she's like, did you hear the stupid shit she just said? And I was like, yeah, I did. I don't know like how you weren't putting it together, or like you think he was with your mama? Like, with your mama? Like, sunshine? And so she was looking at me and she was crying, and she was like, no, I thought it was Baltimore. That's what she kept saying. I thought it was Baltimore, and that's why I didn't put my hands on that bitch until right now. Like, she was so mad. And I was like, it makes sense. Now that so as soon as she like, I'm not your mom's, pretty much. That's why she was like, so she was crying, and she told me that if I wanted to go with her, she's like, I'm leaving. Do you want to go with me or not? Where are we going? I got nowhere to go. Where are you going? So she just said, like, I'm just gonna go for a walk. She starts walking off. I run back to the trailer real quick and tell Mrs. Peach that I'm gonna go with Sam. I was like, I don't know where she wants to go. I'm just gonna walk with her. And she's like, yeah, go. You guys have already done enough. Your man's done enough. He's done more than enough. I end up walking and catching up to Sam, and Sam is just crying. And I'm one of those people, like, if you don't really seem like a person that likes to be hugged, I'm not going to hug you, because like I've said before, sometimes you just want to cry, but you don't want to be touched, you know, but like you just want that person to be there. So that's what I was doing. I was just being that person and just there. And so we're walking, and I don't know where the hell we're going. Like, this place has like a big old lake, and we're walking. I've always had like crazy anxiety where I get scared with everything. So the whole time we're walking, I'm thinking in the back of my head, where are we going? We can't go too far. She's not giving a damn. She's numb right now. I don't want to do anything stupid because I'm scared. I'm like, where are we going, dude? And it was kind of like, not super dark, but it was going to be getting dark. And I knew that this adrenaline was not going to wear off anytime soon. You know what I mean? The whole time we're walking and she's just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And Cheeks made it seem like if it was her and this and that. And so she would, I guess Mrs. Cheeks was never really like, yeah, I'm your mom's. She would kind of, I guess, like make it seem like it was Voldemort. So I don't know what was up with that at that point in time. Like, okay. And I wanted to ask like a billion questions. Like, so you thought Voldemort was your mom this whole time and you were just gonna act like that? Like you weren't gonna even, what? I was just confused. We're still walking and I'm literally like in my head like, that's literally me, because I'm trying to like to put everything together. I'm trying to be her friend, even though I'm like, we're going too far, we should head back. We don't know what's gonna happen out here. Like, what if there's snakes? What if there's coyotes? I'm scared. We're walking and she is not giving a damn where we're going. So I'm telling her, like, are we gonna head back anytime soon? Because it's gonna get dark. We don't know where we're at. Like, we're just walking. Like, dude, someone could just come and pick us up. This is like the hills have eyes. I am scared. And she tells me, you can head back. I'm not heading back. I was like, what do you mean? I'm not gonna leave you out here by yourself. You're tripping. And she's like, okay then, shut up. You don't tell me shut up, I tell you to shut up, bitch. And I was like, Sam, don't talk to me like that. I don't give a fuck if you're her, and don't talk to me like that. And she just stays quiet. Like, she's just quiet. She's probably like, It's probably just, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know what was going through her head at that point in time. So we come to like, kind of like close to like the water. There's still like a lot of sand in front of us and a bunch of rocks. She kicks off her shoes, all dramatic, like super high, where it's like, bitch, you just lost your shoe and I'm not gonna help you find that. She kicks it super far, okay? And she decides to put her feet in the water. And she tells me, like, you coming? I was like, yeah. But I have my shoes on, because I was like, No. Something comes up in the water, I'm gonna be able to kick it with my foot, with my shoe on, because if I do it with my pata, what if they get my toes? Always overthinking, I'm telling y'all. It was a struggle. So we're sitting with our patas, well, her patas, my shoes, in the water. And I'm trying to see if I can at least give like an update to Mrs. Peach, something, because we have walked pretty far. Like, we can no longer see the RVs. We can't see anything. So I'm trying to text Mrs. Peach. We got no service. I'm freaking out and I'm trying not to. Sam over here is trying to get some words out, but she's just like, man, they got me so fucked up right now. Like, just crying and trying to get the words out, and I'm trying to listen to her, and I'm just like, yeah, man, like, I don't know, this is crazy. I don't know, like, you knew that you're gonna have to have this conversation sooner or later. And she's like, yeah, but I just didn't think it was Cheeks. I didn't think it was Cheeks. Like, she just keeps like saying that. And I think it was just like a big slap in the face, because it seemed like she was super close to Cheeks, like super close. So I think she probably just felt like betrayed. Like, how could you? So she just keeps repeating it and repeating it. Like, I just didn't think it was her. How could she? And I'm not trying to be on Mrs. Cheeks' side, okay? I'm really not. I'm trying to like remain neutral, because I don't know the situation. I haven't really known Sam for a long time. I don't know her whole backstory about any of it. I'm just trying to listen, and at the same time, I'm just like, I'm sure it's complicated. Like, I'm sure it's complicated. And she's like, no, she could have just told me. I told her things. And I'm like, and that's fine. Like, that's okay. Like, I'm pretty sure you would want to tell your mom things, you know, like about certain things. And she's like, no, like, I just like, this is just really messing me up right now. And I guess in a way, I kind of was like, I guess it's just a messed up way of thinking. Huh? I'm like, is this something kind of normal? Like, families do this, you know? But I guess when it's one of those things, like once it's you, it hits different, you know? So I was like, maybe that's what she's going through. Maybe it's just one of those things like, it could have happened to you, but I never thought it was gonna happen to me type of feeling. She just kept going back and forth to it. Like, no, I told her things. She made me feel like, you know, it was Voldemort. Like, how could she do this? And so at that, like that right there, I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of dirty. Like, yeah. How are you gonna, you know, act like, oh, I'm not your mom's, or other sister's your mom's? Yeah, F her. So I was like, you know what, maybe she's having a hard time dealing with some things, and maybe she feels guilty, and that's why she's like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm like really trying to give her an excuse, but I really can't, because like, you didn't even have to do all that. You could have just been like, no, it's not her. But then maybe that would have made it flip back on her, like, is it you, you know? Because she knew it wasn't Sunshine. Like, she knew Sunshine, like, could not have any more babies. You know, like, just certain things wouldn't, like, add up. Like, oh, so you're not my mom. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, you just knew, but we're just not gonna say it. And we're just gonna let the elephant chill in the room as long as possible. Me and her are kind of talking about, like, so what are you gonna do? And I'm like, so do you care if Mr. Peach is? She's like, you know, it's just like really up. Like, she was just, I don't even know how to explain it, you guys. Like, it was so weird. Like, she was like going through like all these emotions and crying, and I was just sitting there trying to help her, and just I kept telling her, like, dude, just cry it out. Like, if that's what you have to do, just cry it out. I don't know what you want to do. And then little freaking crazy ass is like, hit me. I'm like, no, I'm not, nope, it's not no 13 bullshit. I'm not going to hit you. Hit me. I was like, I am not gonna hit you. You're tripping. And she starts pushing me. She's all, hit me. I was like, I am not going to hit you. You're crazy. And she's like, I'm gonna punch you in your face. Hit me. And I was like, I'm not gonna hit you. And I know that probably irritated her more, but you guys, I was not gonna hit her. Like, that's just so weird. I'm not gonna hit her. No. Like, so me and her just kept screaming at each other, and I was like, I'm not gonna hit you, I'm not gonna hit you. She's like, hit me. And I was like, I'm not gonna hit you. So she starts pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, and like hard. Like, I could just feel the hits. I could just feel her pain. Like, with every push that she was pushing me, I could feel like all the pain, and I was just taking it. I was just letting her. I could just feel it. And so she keeps pushing me. She keeps pushing me like hard, you guys. I'm telling you, like hard as hell. And so it gets to the point where she pushes me really good. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna fall. So I just grab her and we both just go hit back. I busted my lip because I went like that, like hard. Go back, and she's just crying on top of me, just weeping, crying. My face is all wet, and I'm just hugging her, and I'm just telling her, like, it's going to be okay. Like, dude, it's honestly going to be okay. Like, you're gonna be all right. Me and her are having a little moment, a little beach moment. We're just crying with each other. At this point, I'm crying because, like, I'm like, damn, dude, like, this is sad. And just hearing someone cry and just ache like that, like, it's just like, oh man, like, this is really sad. And she's like, ain't no one out here looking for me. I'm like, dude, we did go pretty far. Like, maybe they are trying to look for you, give them the benefit of the doubt. And she's just like screaming in my ear. Mind you, we hear someone like getting pretty close. You can hear like the sand and rocks kind of like crunch when someone's getting closer. You can hear the crunch of someone's footsteps. I'm thinking like, okay, it's going to be Mr. Peach. He's gonna talk to her like, hey, sweetie, can we talk? Something, right? It's an older gentleman. I wanna say maybe like 25, 30s. And he approaches us and he's like, are you guys okay? Ooh, I really like the eye look. He's like, are you guys okay? Right away, she sits up and kind of cleans herself up, and she's kind of like starstruck, okay? And she's like, yeah, we're fine. I just broke up with my boyfriend. And I just look at her, I'm like, girl, you are, oh my God. So I don't say anything. I'm just quiet because we don't know how far we are. I don't want to like, you know, get loud and be like, don't talk to us or anything like that. So I just stay quiet for the meantime. And he like tells her and stuff like, oh, well, you're very beautiful. The other gentleman with him is just as creepy. And I say creepy because we're young. We're young. Like, you have no business. I could say like, oh, hey, honey, like, are you okay? Like, you want me to call your parents or something like that? But he did not do any of that. It was just weird cochino vibes. Like, he's like, his loss, you're so beautiful. Don't cry. Pretty girls don't cry. So they continue to talk to us. Sam is no longer crying. She's like, distracted. And so I nudge her, I'm like, hey, like, let's go. So he has like this boat, okay? And I'm not talking about like, oh, it's a cool, fancy boat. Not that it would have made a difference, but the way this man was acting like if he was like chingon, and it was just, my woman senses were going, like, this is not safe, this is not safe, this is not safe. Because even though I have always been told all my life that I look a lot older than I do, the oldest I could have looked is like maybe 16, 17. And what are you doing? You are 25, like 25-ish, 30, like it just, no, like cochino vibes all around, and the person he was with too. So they had a boat, and he was telling us like, oh, we can just go hang out in his boat, that he has like some floaties where like, you know, you bounce off and all that. And Sam was like, oh my God, yes, I'd love to get my mind off of it. Oh my God, that's so cool. And I'm literally looking at her like, so you're just down for something like to happen to us? Like, I can't really say because we're on YouTube, but I was really like, dude, like this, like we don't even have to watch Lifetime. I know I'm always hella promoting Lifetime, but we don't even have to watch like, this is how like stuff happens. And I've been in a lot of bad situations where I'm like, this is crazy. Like this is it. This is it. This is it. And that was one of those moments, like, this is it. Like, this is it. He was too touchy-feely. Like, right away, he had his hand, like, pulling in Sam. And I'm just like, oh, God, like, what? Like, this is too fast, too soon. And the other person he's with, we'll call him Patrick. So we have Squidward and Patrick, okay? We'll do that. So the 25, 30-year-old, that's Squidward. Patrick is, I don't know, he looked kind of young, but sometimes he looked kind of old because he had beer, but anybody could have been drinking, you know. Just because someone has a beer doesn't mean like they're old, you know, that they're like 21 and older or whatever. So he was trying to talk to me, and I was just, I'm telling you guys, I would always be called like a stuck-up bitch because I was like, I'm not trying to talk, like I'm not. And so he was trying to talk to me like, oh, like what brings you guys out here? And I'm like, oh, I'm out here with my family. And Sam just looks at me right away, and I'm like, like our dad, I just said it, like our dad is back over there. Like we just came to see over here just because it was getting really crowded. Like I'm already like building like a story, so like no funky business, you know. Squidward right away is like, what are you guys doing like all the way out here? Even if you did want to get away, you don't have to go that far to get that far away. And so he kind of like goes like this to Sam, like, why are you guys really out here? Like, who'd you guys come with? And right, I'm like, why does it matter? You know, like that's what I'm thinking. But I'm telling you guys, no, like I'm not gonna try to piss off this person because it's literally just the four of us in this little spot, and he has a boat. What if he just knocks us unconscious and puts us in the boat and something happens? Like, and it had me thinking like the Peaches are not even out here looking for us, because if they were, all they had to do is just drive down the road and see where we were. Sunshine, Cheeks are not looking for her because they could have been doing the same thing and they would have found us. Like if they were really like concerned, right? So a lot of things are rushing through my head, and Patrick is like, what's wrong? Like, chill. You want one? And he has like a cooler and he lifts it open and there's a beer in there. And I'm like, no, like I'm good. My mom has always told me, like, if you are ever gonna do like a drug or you're gonna get drunk with somebody, be careful who you do it with, because at the end of the day, nobody gives a damn if something happens to you. If you start seizing up, if you overdose, they're gonna dip because they're scared. And that is true. I don't really know Sam like that. Like I already know she's like a two-faced, so I'm not gonna even put my life, like I was constantly fighting with her head, you know, so I'm like, I'm good. Sam grabs one and she's like, well, I'm not. And so we're walking towards the boat because I'm not gonna leave her alone. And it's one of those things, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because if I wouldn't have went and something would have happened to Sam, it would have been on me. If I would have went, estás pendeja, like why the hell did you go? You could have escaped. So it's, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It was one of those situations where it was like, ugh. And every time I think about this memory, I get so mad because we should have just left, and we shouldn't have talked. And even though she was just finding out that her mom, that the mom that she thought was her mom, it wasn't her mom, like, you know, that mumbo jumbo, it wasn't that serious to do all this. It wasn't that serious to just run off and talk to some strangers and get drunk and be stupid. I don't know, but maybe it's because we survived differently, and that was her way of coping with it. So we're walking towards the boat, and I tell him, like, I don't want to go too far, like, I don't know how to swim. Patrick looks over like, oh no, don't worry, like I got you, I got you. I was like, no, I don't want you to get me, like I'm like really claustrophobic, like I don't want to go far. And so he just laughs, and he's like, damn, okay, all right. And he like tries to talk to Sam, like, what's up with her? Sam wants to be a little bitch and like, I don't know, that stick is so far up her ass, I don't know when it's gonna come out. And I look at her because I'm like, dude, like for real, like don't piss me off, because like I will leave you. I don't care, I will leave you. I wouldn't have, but I'm thinking that in my head because I'm mad. She kind of reminded me of like the girl that like wants to be cool, so she will like join in and talk smack and be like that. Like that is what she was giving off, and that's what I was feeling. They start to play music, and we notice that 2 other girls are walking towards the boat. And me, I'm like, oh, they're gonna ask for directions or something, or they're gonna be like, hey, your parents are looking for you, something. Like, even though we were okay on the boat, I was just like, what if like they're looking for us? I don't know. What if this, what if that? Right away, she's like, hey Patrick, hey Squidward, and they get on the boat. They look like they could be our age. They ask us like, oh, hey, like, is this your first time here? Like, oh, Patrick and Squidward are so cool, huh? And I'm like, I don't know them. It's my first time meeting them. He's like, oh, so cool. Like, my dad would never, ever let me do any of this. So I'm like, okay, ding, ding, ding. They're old enough to be like dad, uncle, whatever vibes, right? So they open the cooler and they start drinking too. Me, right away, I'm like, okay, maybe this is just one of those people that they let the young people drink and kind of like are touchy-feely with them, but like nothing goes farther than that. So I'm thinking like, okay, like are we gonna be able to get off the boat? Because I was just freaking out the whole time. Sam is already drinking like 3-4 beers in, and she's just being dumb, putting her hand around Squidward and just like laughing with him, like touching his chest. Like he was like, he had like a 6-pack, 8-pack going on. He was like really, really handsome. So she was just like all over him, and oh my God, you're so hot. And just like kind of just doing the most. And I had to keep like pulling on her hand. Like, hey, calm down, like trying to not be so like annoying and telling her to calm down, because again, I don't want anything to happen and then be like, hey, get the F off. And like, I don't know what happens. You just never know, or them just take off in the boat. I'm telling y'all, it was just like it was a constant battle, and I was trying to like play cool, but at the same time like hold on to Sam, because I didn't know like what could happen. So Patrick is behind me, and I just hear like some moaning going on. Like I turn my head, and him and this girl like full on making out, touching, thrusting, all of that. I'm not trying to have an orgy. I'm not trying to like partake in anything. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm trying to play it cool. And it's getting a little bit darker. And the whole time I'm thinking like, where the hell are the peaches? Where the hell is everybody? Like, what if something were to happen? And my little kid brain was like, maybe I should just have some fun. Maybe I should have some fun. Everyone's always saying how much of a prude I am, and like maybe I should have some fun. Like I did have a water. I was like, what if like they slipped something in there, and that's why like I'm overthinking. Like I felt like I was outside of my body, but it was just probably anxiety, because there's different sorts of anxiety, and there's types of anxiety where you feel like you're outside of your body and you feel like you're literally like on a high. So Sam yells to me, and she tells me like she has to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, cool, great, awesome. Now we get to leave. Before we can even like get up, Squidward's like, where are you guys going? Like, where are you guys going? Sam's like, oh, I have to go restroom. At this point, she's kind of like tipsy. She's kind of like slurring her words, biting her tongue, where she's like super drunk. And he tells her like, oh, like, it's cool. Go down here. Like, it's fine. Like, you don't have to get off or anything like that. And like, the party can continue. She tells me, like, come on, let's go down there. And I'm like, no, like, let's go over there. He tells us like, no, it's fine. Like, go right here. And I swear I could feel my heart in my ears, because I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. This is it. He's gonna be like, why don't you want to go restroom? You know, like, why don't you want to go here? And be upset and be like, what's so wrong with my restroom or whatever? Because you never know how people are going to react to you being like, oh, no, thank you. Like, you never understand someone's mindset. So he's kind of giving us like a little like hard time, going back and forth. And I tell Sam, and I look at her and I'm like, dude, like, for real, like, we're going to get off. Like, I want to go restroom out there, because they had restrooms, what are they called, where you can like go restroom outside? What are they called? I don't know, but they stink. I don't know, an outdoor or back door? I don't know. So I kept telling her, and I kept trying to like lock eyes with her, like, dude, like, stop. I'm like, you're embarrassing me right now. You're acting very fucking pathetic. Get your shit together and we need to get off. Like, I'm scared. Like, I don't feel good. I'm scared. And I'm thinking she's probably gonna be like, okay, damn, let's go. No, she's like, can you just quit? You and your anxiety, and you're always freaking out, and you're always having these feelings. Can you just quit? No, I can't, because something is going to happen and you think it's a joke. So quit. Let's go. Stop, Sam. Stop, because I will leave you. Do it. So we're having this little argument back and forth. And so we're kind of fighting like if we were like sisters, right? So Squidward yells to Patrick, is it even worth it? Like that. Is it even worth it? Which I don't know what the hell that means. Patrick looks over at me. Me and him we make eye contact. I don't know if he could just see that I was like scared or what, but I look at him and I'm just like just like that. I feel like I could see my face. I was scared. And he's hanging out with these other girls, whatever, and he tells them like, nah, get them the hell off, like that. But he seemed really like chill and nonchalant about it, like, get them the hell off. And he goes like that to me. Did I even do that right? Whatever. I'm not even like, oh, like, thanks. I'm just like disgusted. Ew. Squidward is like, get the fuck off. You guys are lame. Get out. Like, he's like upset, like, disgusted all of a sudden, like, ew, gross, whatever. Sam is mad, and she's like, what? I'm not ready to leave. You can leave. She's like, I'm not ready to leave. He's like, no, you and her came together. You guys are gonna leave together. Get the fuck off. Like, all upset. Sam is fighting with him to stay on the freaking thingy. Like, she's fighting with him, and I'm having to fight with her. Like, dude, stop. Like, I want to get off. We're fighting back and forth. She literally does not want to get off the freaking boat, even though he's telling her, get the off now. She doesn't want to get off. He keeps telling her, get the hell off, get the hell off. She's literally like pretty much desperate at this point. Like, no, I don't want to. I'm not ready. Come on. Like, she's lame. Like, we're not even sisters. And she's just talking, and I'm so glad this dude was just not like listening to her, because so I'm fighting with her, holding on to her. She's tipsy as hell. And Patrick comes over and he's telling her like, hey, you need to get off. Like, you're already too intoxicated. You're not like, this is a buzzkill. Like, you need to get off. Like, we're going to go. He's like basically saying like he's gonna go to another spot. Like, she needs to get off. Now she's like, no, I don't want to. And she decides to like sit her freaking ass on the little pull-out thingies that they have and stuff. He gets so annoyed and looks at me and tells me, get her now. Like, he's getting upset because he's probably like, okay, I don't know, his freaking dad, brother, I don't know, was probably crazy because he was getting annoyed. Like, he looked super pissed, and I don't know what was going through her head. Like, dude, this is serious. Get the fuck up. Like, I was just, even talking about it, I get like, oh, because we were so lucky. So we're arguing, we're fighting, and I'm getting to the point where I'm getting frustrated, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to knock her out so that we can get the F off, because she won't stop. So it's Squidward, Patrick, me, her, all yelling and just pretty much cussing each other out. Patrick, even though he was a creep, he was kind of like trying to get us off. Like you can tell he kept looking at Squidward to see, like, you know when someone's like checking somebody to see like their movements, how they're moving, how they're acting, all of that. So he kept watching him and like telling us like, get the F off, like just watching him, because I swear he probably have done something. And I'm getting so frustrated with Sam. I begin to cry because I have been touched. I have been in really bad situations. I was scared because I didn't want something to happen and it just be like, man, these girls are gonna leave. They're probably gonna say this happened, or who knows? I'm telling you, it's like a constant battle in my head of like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. So Sam is still sitting down and I pick her up like, come on, let's go. But you know how when you pick someone up and you like squeeze like their arms and you like dig your nails in them? I did that to her. I picked her up and she's like, ow! And she just throws herself back down again. And this time Patrick is like, no. Grabs her, and this is, okay, let's see. Here's the boat, okay? This is the boat, and here is the land, okay? So, no, like this. So we had this right here where we could like jump off and get wet, right? So he picks her up, goes towards the end, and like chucks her in the water. She falls in the water. She's like, oh my God, you fucking assholes. So she's just like swearing at him. I get off and I'm like, hey, bye guys. And I'm going towards her. She's trying to cuss him out. The girls that were on the boat are cussing her out and saying like, they will beat our ass. And they look like they could, okay? They look like they had some like good like meat on them. So I'm yelling at Sam and I'm like telling her to please stop. And I'm crying and I look like a lunatic and I look crazy because like I'm not even drinking and I'm crying, where I'm like scared and I'm telling her to quit. And the whole time I keep thinking like, this isn't real. I'm dreaming. Wake me up right now, please, because it just felt like this cannot be happening. We were just dealing with her whole situation of like knowing who her mom was, and now like I feel like I'm in a movie. Please wake me up. Like, have you ever felt like so many bad things are happening in your life and you're like, this isn't possible, like this really can't happen to somebody, or like it just like, when does it stop? When do I get off? Like, when stop? Like, you are just like, this can't be happening. Like the whole time thinking in my head like, no, like I'm gonna want to go back home. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like, this is too much. Like, I don't get paid enough. And I am just crying and I'm like yelling at her, and she is still not stopping. So she's like screaming, she's screaming, and I'm like digging my nails in her arms, pushing her so we can get to the freaking rocks and just walk back. And I'm just like digging my nails into her, and I can start feeling like blood trickling where I am getting skin, and where she is just such on an adrenaline rush. She does not care. Now I'm getting scared because Squidward is getting closer to like the deck, and he's telling her, say that again, say that again, see what happens. Like, she is calling him out of his name. She's saying all kinds of nasty stuff. She is calling him a pervert. She knows she's trying to get a reaction, and I keep screaming at her. I can feel the blood trickling on my fingertips, just running down, and I am just sobbing, telling her to please quit. I am urinating myself while I'm in the freaking water because I am scared. Have you ever been that scared where you just pee? And I'm like, thank God we are in a pool, because, well, a lake, because I'm going. I'm going. She's still screaming, and as I'm pushing her, we're now getting to the sand, and I just freaking feel disgusting. I'm like, she's gonna be able to smell my pee because that was a lot. And she goes like this, and she tells me to like leave her alone. She's like, leave me alone. You're lucky. You're lucky. And I'm like, I'm lucky? How the hell what am I lucky for? So me and her start having our words, and she tries to slow-mo. I say slow-mo because this girl was like, she was moving in slow motion where she was so intoxicated. She tries to hit me. Have you ever seen a hit coming? I've only seen like a couple hits coming, and one of them was my grandma, and I did catch her hand when she tried to slap me, but it was like that. So here's my face, and she's like that. And so I was like, I don't know if she's too intoxicated or if she wanted me to catch her hand, because she know I would have like punched her face. So I catch her hand, and I just freaking I start like manhandling her because I'm just like, dude, like stop it. I'm like, stop it. And so I get to the point where I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if I leave you here. I don't care what happens to you, Sam. I need to leave. I am scared and you are not understanding that. And I am crying to the point where I feel like there's something in my throat that I, like, you know how it just feels raw. So I just start walking and I don't look behind me, guys. I do not look behind me because I don't care. I honestly don't care. I did not want something bad to happen to me just because she was not letting up and she was not stopping. Like, to me, I feel like and maybe I shouldn't compare like my struggle and her struggle, but I was like, what you're going through is not bad. At least you do have moms to care about you. My situation, I have nobody. Like, how dare you be so selfish and want to just, you know, like risk our lives. So I'm walking, and I look back after like a couple, like not even a couple, I want to say like 10-15 minutes, okay? And I see her and she just has her head down and she's just holding her arms and she's just crying. So we finally, which I feel like it feels like forever, my feet have blisters because my feet were wet because I got in the water, and it's horrible. I could feel it. Everything just feels nasty. I eventually had to take my shoes off and throw out my freaking socks because everything just felt so like just rubbing against each other. And it just felt so much better walking barefoot than walking with my shoes. We finally get to the campsite and I see Cheeks, Sunshine, and Mrs. Peach around like the little campfire they have going. And I start to get irritated because why the hell are they sitting over here like roasting marshmallows, drinking, and me and your freaking daughter over here almost got kidnapped and we got into a lot of stuff. Like, we were gone for hours. I did not understand what the hell was going on. Like, how could they not care? Like, don't care about me, but I have Sam. Like, what is wrong with you guys? As I get there, I walk straight to Mrs. Peach and she's like, oh, there you are. How's everything? Like, if everything was just nonchalant, like they're just like, oh, like if this is just something normal, like Sam just got some heartbreaking news and you guys are just okay with us being gone. Like, and I was like, maybe it's just, it felt like a lifetime to me, but I was like, no way, like no way. If I had a child and something like that traumatic happened, I would be like, we're sticking together and we're talking regardless. If you don't want me to be around, like we're going to be talking about it. You're not going to go off for a couple of hours and do who knows what. And we are somewhere where it's not like we're like, oh, okay, in our city, or like we are far away where there's other people in RVs that are camping that could just pick us up and they can just leave, and you guys would never know. Like, I could not understand what was going through their head. I still cannot understand how you would allow us to leave and not care what happened. So I just tell her, what the is wrong with you? And I tell her that because I'm already crying, my adrenaline is high. I am just like, oh my gosh, I want someone to freaking care, like care that something could have happened to me. And she like starts like, oh my God, are you okay? They see Sam and she's like holding on to her arms. Now she has like dry blood and they're like, oh my God, ¿qué pasó? Like, what happened? And they start running over to her. And she just tells me like, I'm fine. It was Alexis. So I get pissed because I'm like, no, like you better tell the whole story, like the whole story. As she's talking, she's like, it's Alexis. Like, you can smell the freaking alcohol on her. And so Miss Peach comes close to my mouth, goes to see if like I smell like it. I'm like, I'm not drinking. It was her. Like, we were walking all the way down there and you guys did not care. We were all the way down there. And so she's like interrupting me. She's like, we thought you were swimming. We thought you guys were just away from us. Like, we didn't know. Like, relájate means calm down. We just thought you guys just needed a moment. Relax. Like, trying to like over talk me and make me feel like my feelings weren't like really valid. Like, if I was being dramatic, like, what is wrong with you? Like, no. So I'm explaining the situation that we went. These two guys approached us. They had a boat. Sam is like saying like, yeah, we were just like, they're like our age. I'm like, no, they weren't. They were older. And so as we're talking, I can hear Mr. Peach like calling out like, there you guys are. So he was out looking for us, which I don't even think he was. He's probably jerking his chicken somewhere, because you would have found us. Like, we just literally walked down the road, like the whole way. You would have seen us. You would have seen like the boat and other people like, oh, what? You would have seen us. Like, it. So he's like, oh, there you guys are. So Sam goes off with Sunshine, Cheeks. I go off with Mrs. Peach and Mr. Peach. And I am just mad. And she's not really asking me like what happened. They didn't really care. they were just like acting like they cared because they wanted to get the story because of how Sam looked and what was going on. And as soon as like they walked away, she just stopped. And she just stopped. But you're okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. Because I'm not their kid. I'm not their responsibility. Why would they care? But to me, I felt like that was something very, very traumatic. And I was so freaking scared. And it's like something could have happened. And they were just cool to chalk it up. So I go into the RV. And I was supposed to sleep out with, like, you know, Sam. But I didn't even want to. So I go. The kids are there. And they're watching a show. I don't even want to, like, shower or anything. I just feel so weird and violated and disgusted. So I just put on warm clothes and I just sit with the babies. And I just sit there and I just start thinking about, like, what am I doing? Like, honestly, like, what am I doing? Like, I feel like this road that I am on, something serious is going to happen. And, like, I'm not going to be able to stop it. And so I was just, I feel like I went into, like, a moment of, like, just freaking out. And it sucked because I wasn't around, like, anybody that, like, loved me, that, like, cared about me or anything like that. So I finally get, like, a bar on my cell phone. And I'm trying to text my mom. And I'm like, hey, mom, like, you know, how's everything? Hoping that, like, she would just, like, be in one of her moods and be like, get the F home right now. So I could be like, I gotta go, you know? But she didn't respond. And so I'm like thinking, like, should I just quit? Like, is being with the ex really not that bad? I was really tripping out that, like, something seriously could have happened and went wrong. So the night goes on and it's, like, super late at this point, like, super, super late. I can't sleep. I can hear Mr. Peach and Mrs. Peach doing their business, doing their stuff. And I just feel even more disgusted with myself because they're doing their business, their adult business. They probably think everyone is asleep, but I just feel so weird. So I just get out the RV. Mr. Peach calls out for me. He's like, Alexis? I'm like, yeah, it's me. I'm just gonna go out. I'm gonna get some air. Like, I can't sleep. He's like, okay. Like, probably feels awkward. Like, did she hear us? Or Mrs. Peach, like, whispering something, like, laughing, giggling, like, and I just feel so nasty. So I'm out there. We have, like, a little lawn chair and I'm just sitting there and I'm just going through my phone. At the time, like, we don't really have apps back then. Like, if we had TikTok, we had all these things now, I probably would have been able to occupy myself, you know? But we didn't have all that. So I was just literally, like, just going through, like, chain messages, messaging Skillet. I was talking to Skillet and letting Skillet know, like, hey, this is what's going on. She was, like, telling me, she was giving me the reaction that I wanted. Like, are you okay? Dang, that's crazy. Like, do you want me to see if I can get a ride? And, like, I'll go pick you up. Like, F that job. Like, she was giving me the reaction. And I was like, even though that's what I want to hear, but, like, no, like, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. I just wanted to feel like I'm not tripping, right? Like, this is, like, it's just crazy, you know? So me and her were talking. And at the time, there was this a guy friend. We'll name him Biscuit. We'll name him Biscuit. Now, Biscuit and I, we, like, didn't ever have, like, a relationship, but he was, like, the friend. He was the homie. And so I decided to message him because I was so, like, I guess, like, I wanted attention where I'm like, I feel unsafe. Like, I feel like I want, like a warrior. Like, I want, like, a man to make me feel safe. So I text him. He's asking me, like, how's everything? I don't tell him, like, everything that was going on. I was just like, oh, hey, like, yeah, like, I'm out here. He was like, oh, like, that's cool. How's everything? He's like, asked about my mom and stuff. Like, he knew the situation. He would never let me talk bad about my mom or anything like that. He was always telling me, like, you know, she's gonna get better. Like, it's a demon that she's dealing with. Like, you just gotta, like, be strong. And just talking to Skillet and Biscuit, it kind of, like, helped me, like, be distracted because of, like, what was going on. You know how there's steps to get inside, like, an RV? Cheeks comes by and she sits right there and she looks at me and she, like, tells me, like, hey, Sam was telling us what was happening and I just want to say I'm sorry. And just, like, hearing that too, I was just like, yeah. Because she said, like, you must have been so scared. I'm like, I guess, like, Sam told her that, like, she could smell, like, the pee on me, which is embarrassing, right? So she could smell the pee on me, and that she felt bad. And I was like mad because I'm like, how are you gonna get that sober that quickly, right? So she was just checking in on me and telling me and stuff like, thank you for being there, and that she just thought like, you know, Sam was just having one of her moments, because I guess back at home, like, she would leave for a couple of hours and then come back and she'd be like more calm. So like they were just giving her space. And I was telling her like, no, like, I get that, but that's at home. Like, we're somewhere that like we don't even know what's out there. Like, there's woods out there, like something could have happened. She's like, no, I get that. But I guess like her just finding out everything, and I don't know how much she's told you, like, she didn't tell me anything, because like she really didn't. And I really didn't want to sit here and talk about their problems, because I got my own demons. Like, I'm not over here trying to be therapist to y'all. And so she was just, you know, like, that's our bad. Like, it was our bad. We were just giving her space. We didn't know how she was gonna react. But are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. So she tells me that they're gonna head out early next morning and they're gonna take Sam. And I was like, oh, okay, so like she's gonna leave for good? Like, you know, like, I know it's none of my business, but what's gonna happen? Because I do want to know, like, you know, like in my head I'm like, I do want to know, but at the same time, like, I don't care, you know. And so she tells me that no, that like they're gonna bring her back because that she needs to like have a relationship with her father. I was telling her like, oh, okay. And she asks me like if I want to sleep in their RV, that I'm more than welcome, and that, you know, if I wanted to go shower, that I could go shower. I think because like how much I freaking peed, I probably smelled, you know. And I was like, no, like, I'm okay. I'm gonna wait till morning. Like, I'm okay. And so she tells me stuff like if I want to have breakfast with them in the morning before they take off, and I'm like, no, like, I'm good. So the next morning we wake up, they didn't leave. So they stayed, I don't know for what, probably because they traveled so far and like that's just gonna be a waste of gas. Like, it's just, everything was like, you know, everyone was like hot yesterday, everyone's calmed down now. I didn't talk to Sam for like the rest of the trip. We stayed out there for like 3-4 days. We had to stay an extra day because we had some like car trouble. But the whole time I was just in the RV with the kids or out, and I just felt like I was just going in autopilot. Like, I woke up, fed the kids, did the things that we had to, changed some diapers if I needed to, took them out to go play, stressed, had my anxiety with that, and I just literally ignored them. Sunshine didn't talk to me, Cheeks didn't try talking to me, and Sam, she tried a little bit like, Alexis, you know, and I was just like, don't talk to me. Like, don't talk to me, like, at all. Mrs. Peach was trying to, like, I guess respect, like, I wanted just to be alone, but she made sure to, like, tell me, like, make sure you do this, make sure you wash the dishes, make sure you do that, can you make sure you clean up this, I literally was like more than just a freaking nanny. I was like mom status, I swear. Mr. Peach and I tried to have like a little convo, like what happened and stuff, because I guess they had to put like some ointment on Sam, because where I had dug my nails into her, so, and my nails, they grow pretty long, but I dug my nails into her. So he was just asking me like what had happened, like was she on top of me or something like that. And so I was kind of like vague with like me telling him like what happened, because they really didn't care. Like, these are the type of people where they just want a yes or a no, or like, don't tell me too much, just what I need to know, you know. And so I was like, no, she wasn't on top of me. I was pushing her out of the water because these guys were about to, you know, these guys were getting upset, and he's like, these guys. And so he was getting a little bit of information. I was like, yeah, like, well, we walked all the way down there. They're in a boat, like 25, maybe 30. He's like, you know, pretty handsome, because I was giving him details, like, you know, pretty handsome. He had like brownish, kind of goldish hair. He had sunglasses. He kind of had like a sunburn where the glasses were chilling for a long time. Patrick, he seemed like he was kind of like confident, but not all the way. Like, I was like kind of giving him those details, so like if he were to bump into them, he would know who it was. But it didn't even matter. He didn't even really do nothing. Like, he just acted like he, you know, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go down there, and like if I see them, like, I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna, you know, because that's not okay. Like, but just do anything with you guys. And I was just like, no. But he was a creep, and like that should have been enough. Like, he was a creep. But there's just some guys, some people in life that just don't like confrontation, you know? And that's what I kind of felt him out to be, that kind of person. Like, he didn't like confrontation. unless you have that liquid courage. So it's like, go take a couple shots, bitch, and go get to it. Like, they made us feel uncomfortable. Like, it was weird, you know? But anyways, that was the trip. We go back home. I start telling myself in my head, like, that's it. I'm not going to talk to her. I'm done. That was just, she put me in a situation and I had to make a decision. Yeah, ow, that's it. I'm done. That's a wrap. You're done. Like, I was just over it. I come back home and I don't go to work like right away because like they're trying to unwind and just spend time with the kids as well. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I get word that pretty much the time that I'm going to be gone is the amount of time Sam's gonna be gone. When I go back, she's gonna be there. So I'm like, okay, great. So one of the kids had gotten in trouble for something. Mrs. Peach needed me to be there just to kind of, I guess, like have backup or something like that, because I was pretty feisty with the mouth. And she had seen that. Like sometimes when we'd have confrontation like at Walmart or something like that and something wasn't right or whatever, I would speak up and say something like, what? Like, no, that's not how, or, you know, things like that. Like I would speak up for Mrs. Peach sometimes. So I kind of was like the backbone that she needed at times. So she told me like, hey, can you go with me? There's an incident and I don't understand what's going on. Like I need you to go with me. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll go. So I get picked up. She picks me up because it's like we have to go like right now. I just automatically, I'm like, I'm not gonna go in the front seat with you. I don't know why. And I open the door and Sam is right there. And she's just like this. Hey, like, do I have to go? Like Sam is just as much of a firework as I am. You need to go. I don't know if she was trying to play like matchmaker friendship or something like that, but I was like, so I get in the car, we go back to the house, and Mrs. Peach has us both doing the chores. And Sam wants to get a kind of like a little attitude. She's, you don't pay me for this. I'm not the maid. I'm not the help. Why the fuck I gotta do it? Peach just looked at her, and I don't know if it's because Sam was like wounded or something. The ego was wounded, but Peach just looked at her, and that's all she had to do. Just. And Sam was like, continue to talk, but do it. We eventually start talking again, and she's like telling me like how come I tripped out so hard about like, you know, what was going on. She's like, dude, you were like yelling and crying in my face. Like it was like, that was so funny. Like you were like, oh, and I was like, it's not funny, dude. Like you really think that like you're untouchable. Like everyone always thinks they're untouchable until they get touched. And like I'm done being touched. Like I just like, I want to be like one of those things where like you just shake and it's all gone. Like, you know, and I'm like explaining to her, and she's like listening, and she's like apologizing, like, oh, like I am sorry, like my bad, like I shouldn't have done that. And so me and her, you know, we kind of like squashed it a little bit, but I'm still have my guard up because I'm like, like you got me like all the way messed up, like for real, you really do. So she's just telling me about Cheeks, and I noticed that Baltimore is not at the house. And so I asked her and stuff like, hey, like where's Baltimore? She's like, she's patching stuff up with Cheeks. And so I tell her and stuff, I'm like, so Cheeks is your mom, Miss Peach your dad. She's like, yeah, pretty crazy, huh? I'm like, yeah, it is. And so she didn't tell me right from the get. Like it took us a long time to like kind of like break down that, like being able to talk about like how come your mom lied, or how come this, how come that. So what happened was Cheeks was imagine if I just cut it off right there, like. So Cheeks was in a relationship with Mr. Peach. Okay, Mr. Peach he comes from like a lot of good. So they were in a relationship. Baltimore wanted to test it. She slept with Mr. Peach, and the time that happened, Cheeks was expecting. So they took a little break. I guess like the mom took them, and they went to Mexico because the mom was like, I can't believe you're pregnant. What the heck? What are you thinking? Yada, yada, yada. So while they were out in Mexico, Mr. Peach and Mrs. Peach, they got closer. And they started to like, By the time Cheeks came back, like a novela, right? Cheeks came back. She wanted to still work things out with Mr. Peach, even though Mr. Peach had double dipped with Baltimore. It was too late. Mrs. Peach and Mr. Peach were already like a tink, and he just didn't want to be with Cheeks because he felt guilty of being with Baltimore. So I was like, So I don't understand why Baltimore is still here and friends with Mrs. Peach. And she tells me, it's really complicated. And maybe one of these days I'll tell you, maybe not, but it's stupid complicated. And that was that. So I'm gonna leave it there, you guys. So she just left it there. And it took a while to get those stories out too. But before we get to those stories, I need to tell you all the other stuff first. Because remember, y'all told me to tell you how it was in my diary. So I am. Sorry if this one was a little bit a long one, but I had to tell you guys all the details of how everything and how we like started talking again and all that. Because I can't just tell you 1 and then jump to 8. No, I gotta tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I gotta tell you all of it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's story time. If you guys did, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you guys are notified when I do go live and when I post. And I love you guys so much. I love you guys, and thank you guys for being here for me. Thank you guys for allowing me to tell you guys my stories and just being freaking awesome. A lot of you guys are asking me to come out with a book or to publish my journals, and I don't know, man. Like, I've always wanted to either come out with like a movie or a book. But I just feel like these books are gonna be hella thick because I talk so much and I want y'all to have like all the details. And I just feel like a long time ago, even after I had Andrew, I had a laptop and I was trying to write about my life. Like, I really was. And that was so freaking long because I gave so many details. And the people that I did allow to read that, some people were like, dang, like, I like how you're so detailed. And then, like, you know, like the ex and stuff, and like other people, they were like, it's too long. Like, not everyone wants to know all of that. So I guess it kind of made me feel like, So I just get so, I don't know, it just trips me out that you guys really like to hear like my story times and stuff. And it makes me feel special. Like, it really does. It makes me feel like I'm heard. You know what I mean? Like, when you feel like, and then people like are actually listening and pulling up the chair and like want to hear and can relate. It's just, but I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for all of your love. I really appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in my next story time. Bye.